Greetings and welcome to an LGR thing, and this is Microsoft Windows 3.0, not 3.1, not yet anyway. I wanted to take a look at this for a couple of reasons. One, I've been meaning to install Windows in some form on my 486 wood grain PC for a long time now, and while the eventual goal is to put 3.1 or maybe 3.11 on there, that's what I eventually want to do, but it might be an interesting detour to stop at Windows 3, which was actually released 28 years ago on the exact day I'm filming this. May 22nd, 1990 is when this was released to manufacturing, not when I'm recording this video. Contrary to some conspiracies, I am not a time traveler, so just ignore those IBM 5100s and flux capacitors you've seen in my videos. Anyway, I wanted to install this because, I'm not terribly familiar with it. I've used it a few times here and there over the years, but as a kid, my first version of Windows was 3.1, and while there's not a drastic difference between Windows 3 and 3.1, there kind of is. I mean, there are a lot of applications that will only work with 3.1, in fact, way more that will work with 3.1 only and do not support 3.0. And then, of course, there's just some different graphical features and things like that this had, and then 3.1 got rid of or improved upon in many ways. And I don't know, I just find that this release is kind of fascinating. Plus, I have a brand new sealed package here. Check that out. This is the 3.5-inch US release of Windows 3.00, and it was sold apparently by Forsyth Computers Incorporated in St. Louis, Missouri for $149 at one point. New! Breaks the 640K memory barrier. Unleash all the power of your PC. Yeah, I definitely want to do that since my 486 has 16 megabytes of RAM. You can see the sticker here. It has a special bonus. Comes with Daybook, a personal organizer with a runtime version of Toolbook by Asymmetrics. Don't know what that is yet, but we'll find out. While I could admire this packaging all day, I am itching to get inside here and see what we get, so let's do a bit of an unboxing before we get to setting everything up on the 486. Kind of want to save that price sticker if I can. Oh, it fell right off. That makes it easy. Fresh retro windows. Oh man, so crispy, so enjoyable. Well, I'll just pretend that never fell out of there. Yeah, that is packed to the brim. Smells like a library. So there's that Asymmetrics Runtime Toolbox software construction set for Windows. Got the gigantic Windows 3 user guide here. Good grief. Got a product registration card. Well, it's less of a card and more of a substantial pamphlet. Important information, read this first. No thanks. Okay. I don't remember seeing this as a thing. Well, it's not really a magazine. It's more like a 12-page monthly publication. So I guess the Cobb Group had their own Windows newsletter. Ah yes, here we go. The Microsoft Windows 3.0 hardware compatibility list. This is fascinating. The following computers, video displays, printers, pointing devices, keyboards, and networks have been certified for use with Microsoft 3.0. Yes, Windows 3 can run on all these things. And pretty much this just effectively is a wish list for my collection these days. But a bunch of them, man, what the heck happened to these things? Like, what's the ALR PowerFlex? That sounds like an amazing computer. Or the Emerson ET200. Didn't realize Emerson made computers. The Goupil G5S6. Yeah, I guess some Nokia's in there. I've been trying to find like a Nokia MS-DOS computer, just because it seems like that would be fun. Here's a very similar list for all of the applications that Microsoft has tested to be working with Windows 3 or have Windows 3 specific versions at this point in 1990. Of course, there were many more than this that would work on Windows 3, but it's kind of neat to have a brand new operating system at the time, and they went out of their way to test so much stuff. Here's our proof of license, Windows 3.00. Look how simple that is. Yeah, these looked a little more simpler than what happened with all the Microsoft license things later on, with the holograms and all sorts of interesting print and security features. Not much going on there. And then all this is going to be the floppy disks. Please treat it as valuable property. I will do that, Microsoft in 1990. I will do that. Before opening this disk packet, I should carefully read all that crap. Now, let's go ahead and get this disk packet open here before we take a look at the manual or anything like that. Oh man. Wow, these look great. They feel great too. These are quality discs. All right. So yeah, for DOS systems. So this is a full version of the thing, and you just install this on top of DOS. Have DOS 6.22 installed on the 486, so that is what we'll be upgrading or really adding on to, since Windows was more of a shell that ran on top of DOS at this point and not a fully fledged operating system. So it does require DOS, which is why we're doing it in this order. And subsequently, we're going to be installing 3.1 on top of this 3.0 installation in the future. I am curious about this guy. I'm absolutely not familiar with this at all. So it looks like it comes with a personal organizer, calendar, address book, to-do list, but also this thing called Toolbook. And that's what I'm more intrigued by here. With the full version of Toolbook, you can easily create your own applications without being a programmer. I've used Windows 3.0 before, like it's installed on my IBM PS2 Model 90 486 XP thing. This, on the other hand, yeah, we'll install this once we get Windows installed and see what it does. And finally, just want to take a look at this manual here really quick because it's so large it demands an audience. That's the most appropriate. 640 pages. 640K barrier broken. 640 page barrier broken for this manual. Wow. Oh, just absurd documentation. Could you imagine getting a book like this with Windows 10 or anything these days from Microsoft that's not like some enterprise solution kind of IT corporate business software? Anyway, that's one delightful mountain of documentation. All right. Well, now I know what Windows 3 comes with, so let's hook up the Woodgrain 46 and get this baby installed. All right, get the 46 turned on, some disks at the ready. Here we go. And it just said to type setup on the A drive. Welcome to the Microsoft Windows version 3.00 setup. We will install to Windows. It's a very classic Windows installer they used for seemingly forever. Okay, so let's see what it has detected. MS-DOS, VGA. We do have SVGA. We'll just go with VGA for now. Sounds good. And now to sit through the process of installing 7 floppy disks. These are all 720 kilobyte, not high density, just double-sided double density disks. And I'm not sure, okay, what is it doing here? The heck is this? No clue what that did on the first disk there, but we'll try it again. You really just never know with floppy disks. Even ones that were new, wrapped up and stuff. Okay, well that's what it was supposed to do. After setup installs Windows, it will perform each of the following check procedures. Set up printers, applications already on hard disk. Nope, nope, nope. Because I don't want to do any of that. I don't have a printer attached right now, although I hope to address that in the future. So yeah, it seems to be fine now. We went from disk 2 onto disk 3, so I'll just continue from here and pick back up once it's done installing. Didn't even ask for disk 7, just went straight to this. Needs to modify configsys and autoexec.bat. Make all modifications for me. Yeah, go ahead. Reboot. I guess it's not going to do it for me. Do it yourself, it says. Okay, let's see what it did. We have Windows over there. You can just type in Win, and it loaded so quickly we couldn't even see the Windows 3.0 splash screen. What a shame. But I do still have that compact flash storage device installed on here. So yeah, this is Windows 3.0. It is very much like 3.1 or 3.11, but a little simpler. The icons are different, a lot of the capabilities are different, as I mentioned earlier, but let's see if we can add a little bit of color here. Fluorescent! Yes, because why not? Oh, these color schemes are not great. I remember pastel. I guess we're just going to put it right back to where it was. We got a bunch of fonts. Well, actually, not a bunch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fonts. We can access our ports, and our mouse, and our desktop. I remember some of these patterns being kind of interesting. Nope. Nope, they're pretty dumb. They're all monochrome. And I keep wanting to click this part to get the drop down, but you actually have to click the drop down. Just clicking this doesn't actually do anything here. So yeah, there's a lot of little things about the UI that they tweaked for 3.1 that just make it way easier to use. Let's try some wallpapers. Will it let me? Oh, I have to tile them. There we go. Some of these are pretty rad. I like chess. Always like chess. That's like my favorite of the Windows 3 wallpapers. I'll probably leave that, but I'm just curious what else is in here. Paper? Yeah, whatever. Party. Oh, I don't know, man. That might be even better. The early 90s-ness of that is beautiful. Oh, so is that. Oh, it's just great. I think I'm going to leave that one for now. And then add something magnificent over here. Kind of like this. Oh my goodness, yes! This is Windows 3.0. Oh, look at all this, man. I just want to drink from jazz pattern solo cups and go roller skating and oh man. Alright, so let's see, we got some games here. Solitaire, the classic. There's something about like how smooth everything feels, yet the frame rate isn't ridiculously high either. There's just something odd about it. It does have all the same decks as 3.1 though. Looks like it is, yep, still the same one by West Cherry. So, and then Reversi was the other game that it came with. And this was a classic, sort of a holdover really. And then they kind of took it out from 3.1, if I recall. Let's see, we got some accessories, and we got write. I can write things with my Model M, and it's loud as balls. It's wonderful. We got paint friggin' brush. Oh, yes. Look at that high DPI of my mouse. This little Logitech mouse. It's, or maybe it's the polling rate causing that. But either way, it's a very limited kind of mouse situation going on. We have the terminal, which was... Oh, man, I wish I had a phone line to actually try this, because I used to dial into all sorts of things, like, you know, bulletin board systems and the local library, and there was like this thing that the Yellow Pages had. I don't know, all sorts of stuff if you had a phone line, which I don't. I don't even have a modem installed in this thing, it's just because I don't really need it these days. Notepad, yay, it's Notepad. Recorder. Quite handy for recording macros if you ever need to do things with your various programs, you know, spreadsheets, whatnot, if they don't have macro support built in. Card file. Yeah, in case you need to keep a bunch of cards filed. Got a calendar to keep track of your calendar, set alarms for yourself. All these basic productivity things that were really like a big selling point of Windows, so you would be able to get all of these kind of things just in one spot. You get a clock, man. A clock. I love that digital clock. And you've also got the PIF editor here, which is if you want to make shortcuts and special, you know, requirements for memory and display usage and all that kind of stuff for your DOS programs. Pretty darn handy. At least I found it so, in, especially in Windows 95, but also in 3 and 3.1. File Manager looks a little bit different too from 3.1. So you have this, and then just things open up this way, and it's, I don't know, I think it's kind of annoying. I don't like it. I know there's ways to customize it, but point being, I'm not a big fan of File Manager in Windows 3. You save your settings? Sure, go ahead, I don't care. I do want to try that piece of software that it came with, though, the Asymmetrix Runtime Toolbox. Okay, so we'll run the run command, and it is tpksetup.exe. Install it to the toolbox folder. Well, it did that. We'll do introducing toolbook. Ooh, tourbook, an introduction to toolbook. In this brief introduction, you'll see what it can do. Allow about 10 minutes. Well, I don't know about that, but yeah, what can it do? I just want to know what it can do. Toolbook is almost as powerful as your imagination. You can combine text, graphics, animation, calculations, interact. Is this HyperCard? Kind of looks like HyperCard. Yeah, create a book that uses stereo sound. Yeah, this is pretty much looking like HyperCard for the Mac. Not exactly what I thought it would be, but that's interesting. Yeah, check it out. There's an example of things you can do. So that's that part of it. Let's try Daybook. All right, so we have the Daybook map. You can see a data flow diagram. Okay. It's like an organizer. That's fine. This is today. Dang it. And we can go to, yeah, we can put a reminder here. Now we're gonna put a watch on this day, and it's gonna remind me to upload this video. Upload this video. And the watch is on top of that. But there we go. Oh, no, we can't. Why can't I make the watch? Well, screw this. Now, I would try SimCity for Windows here, SimCity Classic, but this is one of those that will not work on here because it needs Windows 3.1 or above for all sorts of reasons, but, you know, largely because of all the multimedia stuff. However, I believe that the Microsoft Best of Entertainment Pack will work on here. It says, yeah, MS-DOS version 3.1 or later, which this is 6.22, and Windows version 3.0 or later with 286 or higher, 640K of RAM. Yay. As long as we can play Ski Free, Rodent's Revenge, and Jezball, it's not entirely useless. Oh yeah, that's what I like to see. All these games. Ski Free, yay! So yeah, you can play Ski Free on Windows 3, so that's pretty awesome. And you got Chips Challenge without any sound. That is what it is. Jezball, good stuff, good stuff. Again, it's all very quiet though. That's unfortunate. And the reason for this silence is not because we don't have a sound card in here. If you'll remember a while back, we did another 486 upgrade video where I installed a lovely Sound Blaster Pro 2.0 card. So this thing does have some awesome sound, but all we get in Windows 3.0 here is occasional PC speaker beeping, and that's it. Like that. Dunk! That's all you get. What was my cool name? My cool name is LGR. My cool quote is... Quotes are cool. But the reason that we don't have sound here is simply because Windows 3 does not support it. In fact, it didn't even get support other than this really basic PC speaker warning beep until Windows 3.0A with multimedia extensions. And as far as I know, that wasn't actually sold in stores. It was just an upgrade that was made available for certain vendors that were selling their MPC or multimedia PC, but this doesn't have it, which is kind of odd because on the front of this, if you look at the screen that is on that little IBM, what was that, an 8513 monitor, it has an article about MIDI. It shows a keyboard and paintbrush, and there's a program manager window open that says music and computing, but this does not have music or sound support. It's just, why were they doing that? They're like teasing something that just wasn't even a thing yet. But anyway, this computer does have the ability to play back sound, so we'll do that eventually with the upgrade to Windows 3.1. But as it is now, that's pretty much it for this right here, just Windows 3. We'll see you in the next 46 upgrade video at some point. where we will be happily upgrading to Windows 3.1, and probably 3.11 for work groups. But anyway, that was this video, and I hope that you enjoyed what you saw here. And if you did, perhaps you'd like to check out some of my others. There, of course, was the video where I put this computer together in the first place, as well as the one where we put the Sound Blaster Pro 2.0 card and a bunch of other upgrades, with more to come in the future. And beyond that, there are other videos every Monday and Friday here on LGR. And as always, thank you very much for watching.